Will The Rock make an appearance? Who will be the inaugural women's US champ? How angry will I get at the amount of commercials? You didn't ask me, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So Saturday night's main event actually has 4 title defenses, which is third most out of all PLEs this year, excluding WrestleMania Sunday. This is significant because it's not your typical PLE. First of all, it's only 2 hours. Second of all, it's airing on network cable television on NBC, which means I just hope it's not as bad as Raw has been recently with the commercials. If we have a WWE Championship match that has multiple commercial breaks during the match, it will kill the mood for me completely. There's nothing worse than seeing 2 grown men duke it out for the big gold, only to be interrupted by a Purina dog chow commercial. It completely takes you out of the moment. That was a crazy pull. I don't even know if Purina still exists. Confirmed it does. Sports entertainment journalism, that's what we do here at Bosco Mania, folks. Now, 2 hours for 5 matches on a PLE is an insanely tight squeeze. We usually get 5 matches in a 3-hour show. So either one of these matches is going to get cut drastically short or cut completely for storyline reasons, or we're just going to go back to back to back with some shorter matches across the board. I hope and predict one of these is going to get drastically cut. This is the match I'm most looking forward to. I just love triple threat matches, man, and these guys will bang. The criticism of this storyline is fair. Gunther is the champ, although it feels like Damian Priest and Finn Balor's storyline has kind of overshadowed this being a title match. But it kind of lines up with Gunther's whole mentality, the bit of self-doubt, the shorter temper. I personally would like to see them lean into that criticism and build it into the match. So I think Priest and Balor are gonna have their one-on-one squabble at some point in the match. Gunther is then gonna take this opportunity to choke both of them out at the same time and win the match. It's a very specific prediction that probably will not happen, but I would go insane if this was the booking. Gunther asserts his dominance. It gives him the confidence he needs as a character going into WrestleMania season, where I think he will keep his title all the way through WrestleMania, allows him to focus on the next challenger, and then puts Priest in the rearview mirror to do whatever the hell he wants to do to wrap up this whole Judgment Day leftovers that's happening with him. That being said, I don't think the Judgment Day is going to get involved in this match because they're going to get involved in this match. First of all, I think WWE is going to give both of these some time to work their magic in the ring because they're both spectacular. Especially Iyo, when she has someone who's a little bit more mobile on the other side of the ring. She really shines. The first 8 to 10 minutes of this match are gonna slap. But Liv and Rhea obviously have unfinished business that's gonna take them into the next year. And I think Liv holding the title during this feud justifies all of this heel behavior for her. And it also keeps the crowd invested in her character until she eventually faces Rhea. So while I do think the match will be good, maybe great, I think we're going to get an interference from Raquel and likely Rhea in response, which will sour the match, but it is the right call. Iyo still looks strong for any title match she wants or gets in the future because the loss is not her fault. Liv gets more heat by screwing the fans over, especially if the match is good leading up to the interference, but she still retains. It's really just a filler match until we get the payoff to this whole Liv and Rhea storyline, which honestly might take us all the way to WrestleMania. This is where I feel like we get something funky happening. Like, part of me thinks Drew's gonna do some backstage shenanigans and attack Sami sometime early in the night and call off the match. And then Jay and Jimmy, maybe later in the night, they find Drew and they attack him backstage. So they're still progressing this storyline, building this seemingly out of nowhere Bloodline versus Drew feud and give it some more weight for future matches. It just feels quick, I guess, to have Drew beat Sami clean this quickly. Or maybe Drew attacks Jimmy backstage early in the night because that's the one person he hasn't attacked. And then Jay interferes in the match to avenge Jimmy. Something like that that kind of sets up and opens more doors for Drew to kind of have a match with anyone in the Bloodline. So I guess my prediction is funky backstage shenanigans not leading to a clean finish. Let's go with that. And I guess that actually buys more time for the other matches, because like I said, 5 matches in a 2-hour PLE is jam-packed. So yeah, actually lock it in. I'm recording this before Friday Night SmackDown, so I'll talk about this match first. Everyone is talking about Chelsea Green becoming US champ, and some credible sources are saying that's what's likely going to happen. But I disagree. And I don't have sources. This is just me saying my opinion. I'll preface this by saying I do love Chelsea Green. She's a fantastic character and worker. But the smart move to me is to have Bayley go over on SmackDown to face Tiffany, most likely, even if it's Michin. I would still pick Bayley to win the inaugural U.S. women's title. Here's why. Throw your pitchforks at me. I know, but let me speak. I think WWE needs to give the mid-card women's titles some credibility and use them to elevate the entire mid-card, just like they do with the men's, right? It's kind of like a funnel for people to get to the top of the card. Giving it to Bayley to start allows them to do that immediately and makes the title lineage strong on day one. I think they then cycle through a few superstars challenging Bayley for the title, allow her to defend it and be a formidable mid-card champion, and then relatively quickly, maybe a few weeks or a couple months, they turn the title over to someone new who would beat Bayley. Think about it. Beating Bayley without a title belt involved is a significant enough feat for a mid-carder to be elevated just by beating Bayley. But combine that with them winning the title, beating Bayley, and then maybe having a bit of a title run after that or a few significant title defenses, all of a sudden you have someone now who's taken a major jump up in the women's scene. I wouldn't be mad if Chelsea Green wins, though. She's a lot of fun to watch. Okay, now you can throw your pitchforks at me. Will The Rock make an appearance? Before I get into that, WWE released this teaser with Cody and Triple H, unveiling what I can only assume is a gold camo MP5 from Modern Warfare 2. Which, if Cody gets his hands on that, it's game over for KO. Now, people are going crazy because they're suspecting it's the Winged Eagle title belt, which is kind of a vintage nod for bringing back a vintage show, which, if that's what it is, I'll mark out. I think it's perfect. I doubt the title stays long term, but Cody's been vocal in the past about wanting to change the belt when he becomes champion, so who knows? This is Cody and Kevin Owens' second PLE title match in the last 105 days. And their first match at Bash in Berlin was so good. I need to rewatch that. I actually just rewatched it. That match was so good. The crowd was so hot. The storytelling in and out of the ring was so good. So I expect this one to deliver again. I think it will be the match of the night. Maybe not as good as Bash in Berlin, just because the crowd there was incredible. I think they'll call back to those spots in Berlin where Kevin kind of hesitated taking advantage of Cody when he was down. For example, when Cody's knee buckled, or when Kevin attempted to powerbomb him outside of the ring but held back. I think they might bring those spots back, but Kevin is on his revenge angsty tour, so he's not going to hold back this time. Ultimately, I do think Cody wins and retains, somehow uses Kevin's emotions and irrational behavior against him to pin him and retain the title. Not really a surprise to anyone, I think, especially with this unveiling of potentially the Winged Eagle title belt that Cody would walk in with. He can't lose if that's actually what happens. I kind of hope if the belt comes out that Kevin uses it against Cody somehow, maybe after the match. That would be pretty epic. It's not a WWE predictions video in 2024 if we don't speculate about The Rock. Now, I do think WWE needs to drum up some more marketing around The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, coming back to appear on the first Raw on Netflix. He's maybe the biggest star in the world, one of for sure, and having a familiar face on the screen will be huge for non-wrestling viewers. Having him come in at the end of the show and say literally anything to Cody will be a perfect way to rack up those social media numbers and views that the WWE loves to flaunt any chance they can get, and get non-wrestling fans a little more intrigued about why the guy from Moana is on a pro wrestling show. So if The Rock does come back, I think it's quick and at the end of the show. My dream would be for him to come back, music hits, He does his slow, epic walk to the ring, gives Cody a rock bottom, and then says, "See you on Netflix, bitch." It would be the ultimate final boss TKO executive character move. He'd get so much heat for that. And to quote he who shall not be named, it would be good for business. It would be good for business. I can't do a Vince McMahon impression. I might edit that out. That being said, I don't actually think The Rock is gonna show up, but I want him to. I always want him to. We gotta stop kidding ourselves. We want The Rock to show up any chance we can get. So there it is. Let me know how much you hate my takes and insult my grandparents or whatever you guys usually do in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed it, it would mean a lot to me right here if you would just keep an eye out for my next video. I kind of like doing this, and I love the community, even though you're just a bunch of sickos.